Hello there, lovely. Good morning, and sincere apologies for bringing the program slightly late. This was due to circumstances beyond our control. However, it is a Monday. Good morning to you. Let's rise and thrive together. Remember, it's our tea breakfast show right here on Cabinet TV. I'm Tapelo Josmata. Now, today we host Mr. Cosmas Chileshe. He is a UPND media team member, and also he is part of the presidential support campaign systems. Am I correct, Mr. Chileshe?
Yeah, we have the UPND presidential support program.
Okay.
Or you can call it presidential support system.
Okay.
I think system sounds better. So it also becomes the presidential campaign team during an election time, but outside the election, it operates as presidential support system.
Okay, fantastic. Mr. Chileshe, like always, like you know, we do have a custom here on Cabinet TV where we go straight into the newspaper segment to highlight some of the headlines on our daily tabloids. Let's go on with it, dear director. Okay, we go straight to the Daily Nation. The Daily Nation comes up with a headline: mine suppliers plead with HH to ensure there is legislation that would compel mine owners to prioritize small-scale mine contractors and suppliers instead of leaving it at the whims of mining companies. I think that headline is sufficient enough to kickstart our discussion. Mr. Chileshe, your 2 cents on that particular headline.
Yeah, I think issues to do with mine supplying basically internal matters to do with the people that are running the mines. Of course, government has a share through ZCCM holdings to ensure that the interest of our people is protected, to ensure that a majority of contracts which are being given to suppliers, our local people have a large share. You may wish to know that the life of the copper belt economy predominantly has to do with the contractors who are providing various services to the mines, KCM and Mopani. The operations of the mines have been so much decentralized, if I may put it that way, where most of the services are being provided by these contractors, and that is where we have a huge domain in terms of job creation for our youths, so that it translates into economic activities, because in mining towns, when suppliers are paid, you can see the activity.
The evidence is all over.
The evidence is all over in those corridors. So they have a right, and I wish to commend in general the leadership on the copper belt. I read a statement this morning from the provincial minister where they have made a huge endorsement declaring President Hakainde Hichilema as the sole candidate for the 2026 general elections. I have made reference to that call because copper belt is very significant to the politics of our country. I come from the copper belt. Oftentimes when things have changed on the copper belt, it takes a little bit of time for Lusaka to be at that pace of that change, and in most cases copper belt has determined the political direction for our country. It has remained as such throughout history, probably because of its huge population in terms of the towns of the copper belt, and also the population which has been drawn as a result of the mining activity on that town. You may wish to know that even historically, people would come from Kasama to go and work on the copper belt. They could come from other parts of the region, and they found themselves because of the huge mining activity that you find there. And suffice to say that the activity in that town has had a lot of impact on our exchange rate. Our kwacha has been volatile in that sense because we've not had much activity happening in the mining sector. You may wish to know that prior to the UPND government coming into office, investors in that town, in the mining industry, were pulling out. Some mines had collapsed, liquidated, like KCM, but there's been investor confidence that the president has brought in the mining sector. In Wansha, Shaft 28 is back to life. KCM, Mopani, and other mines that are operating in northwestern province, which is the new copper belt. So anything to do with the suppliers, they have a large stake that they should have in the overall economy.
Okay. Okay.
So I subscribe to those sentiments, and I would like to see that the powers that be from the government or party structures, they should find to give this feedback so that our policy is directed in line to meet the aspirations of the people on the copper belt. So those sentiments are noted, and would like to see that our people have a larger share. And this is some of the things that the Mineral Commissions Act also seeks to establish, to ensure that our local people have a larger share in the activities of the mines on the copper belt.
Okay. Let's go to another daily tabloid, and we still have Mr. Cosmas Chileshe here, who's weighing in on our headlines on different daily tabloids. We go to the broadsheet, the Zambia Daily Mail. I can see a picture there of paddlers. I'm sure that's the Barozi floodplain. They are preparing for the Kwamboka ceremony, which is coming forth on the 5th of April. Now, the headline reads, and I quote, UPND has no intention to manipulate constitution. That will form part of our discussion, Mr. Chileshe. But quickly, let's go to Critical Minerals' vision to help deliver lasting prosperity for Zambians. Mr. Chileshe touched on that. Party SG clears air amid falsehoods by some individuals. Chief under probe for assault. Okay, so unfortunate there. Okay, so that's how the Daily Mail looks like. Mr. Chileshe, just briefly, I know part of our larger discussion will concentrate on the proposed constitutional amendments.
That's right.
But just briefly, the UPND does not intend to manipulate the constitution. Your 2 cents in brief.
Well, I'll speak to that, but I want to, first of all, I appreciate the layout of the Daily Mail. It depicts the picture of the Kwamboka ceremony that speaks to our rich tourism products that we showcase as Zambia in the tourism sector. CNN has been a leading international news media which has advertised the Kwamboka ceremony.
Okay.
And very soon we'll be having that kind of a ceremony. We last had the Nchwala ceremony. We have the Kwamboka ceremony. So we'd like to showcase our rich culture, and this government in uniting the country through traditional ceremony. That is why His Excellency, the President, has been on most of the major ceremonies to officiate, to speak to that message of us being one Zambia, one nation. Coming to the constitutional headline there, indeed, government has no plan to manipulate the constitution with regards to proposed amendments to fulfill on the mandate of the UPND manifesto to ensure that we have inclusive constitutional reform process. So the proposed amendments are progressive. That is the criteria we have charged all the proposed amendments that Justice Minister made reference to. They are progressive. There is no manipulation whatsoever. If anything, as we delve into the nitty-gritties of the discussion on the proposed amendments, From a communications point of view, as UPND Media Unit, we are looking at economic as well as legislative and administrative benefits that the overall 13 areas of domain that the amendments touches seek to achieve. So there is no manipulation whatsoever, to be a transparent process. That is why Justice Minister has outlined the roadmap. So there's no manipulation, and headlines, when they are shown like that in the media, it's part of agenda setting, a process that they are trying to fulfill as one of the function of media. So good to note those headlines. We talked about the mining aspect, of course, away from Copperbelt, even to other regions that the mapping has outlined, where we do have abundant of huge mineral resource that are supposed to enrich our economy and have a great impact on economic well-being of our Zambians. So those are some of the headlines I spotted. Any other significant one I've left out from the front page of the Daily Mail?
Okay, I think that is sufficient, Mr. Chileshe. We can go to another daily tabloid, Dear Director. Okay, The Mast, another daily tabloid. UPND cadres strike again in South, threaten boxing enthusiasts and interrupt tournaments. CAAC questions TIZ ACC bribery reports. NGO declares nationwide war on sextortion. New notes, coins are here. Let's go to the banknotes, Mr. Chileshe. They're going to be launched today. Some stakeholders are saying, why now? Others are saying, is this a priority where a wider consultation is done? But let me get it from you.
First of all, Bank of Zambia Governor Dr. Denny Kalele made reference to the fact that this launch of the family of new banknotes should have been done last year, to coincide with our 60th year celebration of our independence. But because of certain logistical issues, there has been this delayment to launch them in the first quarter of 2025. So if you say that why now, the question is that they should even have been done as at yesterday, as I've made reference to, that it should have coincided with that time. So the currency, which has now modernized, rebranded our kwacha notes, with heritage being the main theme, where they are promoting our tourist attractions in terms of our waterfalls. We now have Lumangwe being depicted, waterfalls which in other terms is being referred to as the Junior Victoria Falls. When you get that side, it's full throughout the year. Then you start wondering why we only talk about Victoria Falls and other heritage sites that the bank new notes are depicting. So it's a great tourism product for me as a tourism product person, because of those features of our heritage sites that the notes have come with. So first of all, let's welcome these new banknotes that have joined the family, so that they become a true mode of our exchange. There were politics that were said about the new banknote, but everything that has been done are measures to address our inflation, for instance, and also to provide durability to the notes, so that we can have more money into circulation, and also with the higher notes such as 500 and 200 kwacha notes. There's this policy direction from the Bank of Zambia to ensure that other forms of online payments are promoted, such as the use of mobile payments on platform of Airtel, MTN becoming official, even in places like bus stations. I mean, in buses, you can pay your conductor through mobile in marketplaces. So there are these other initiatives alongside the introduction of these bigger notes, just for argument's sake, for people that may see it as a difficult in terms of finding change because of the value of the higher notes. But over and above, it's a new dawn that is being laid before us. We love the new notes, the features, and improved feature to what we currently have. So I would like to use this platform as the Bank of Zambia has been going around the country to sensitize our communities on these notes. Let's welcome them so that we can enhance the prosperity of this country to another level. Okay.
Let's go to another daily tabloid, Mr. Chileshe. Zamsa FL project says government theft starts from the top down to drivers and security guards. Stop scandalizing Lungu, join UPND peacefully, Mwamba tells Amos. Obviously, that is reference to the former press aide to former President Edgar Lungu.
Quite significant. Our fugitive colleague, in the name of Emmanuel Mwamba.
Oh, he's a fugitive?
Because there are two bench warrants that have been issued against him, running away from the law. First of all, in order to protect his integrity, we would like him to come and face these matters for the sake of his integrity. If he aspires to be anything to the leadership of this country, let him demonstrate leadership by coming back home and face charges which are in court, and will ensure that justice shall not only be done, it shall also be seen to be done, and the media will be there to ensure that we cover these cases as a part of our watchdog role to society, and in ensuring that we provide checks and balances to the three arms of government. So instead of speaking and creating an evil agenda based on malice, of course, not just in relation to Mr. Amos Chanda is making reference to, I think I'm urging him to come back and face the courts of law, so that the tag of him being a fugitive should be removed from him.
That was our last daily tabloid, Mr. Chileshe. Let's look at the constitutional amendments, proposed constitutional amendments, and of course there are 13, but there have been some concerns with some of the articles, Mr. Chileshe. Let's begin with the first one. In brief though, I'll be giving 1.5 minutes each, Mr. Chileshe. Now, number one says, constituency delimitation. Amend Articles 58 and 68 to redraw boundaries for equitable CDF distribution by size and population. Other schools of thought are saying CDF is not a constitutional matter and delimitation is a constitutional matter. Why are they being married?
CDF is not a constitutional matter, and delimitation is a constitutional matter.
Yes, Mr. Chileshe.
So the way we have done our communication strategy as a UPND media team is first of all look at the overall parameters that these proposed amendments have been done. And what we see is that they are progressive in the sense that they have economic, legislative, as well as administrative benefits that they will bring to the overall political landscape of our country. We must underscore that fact that these proposed amendments are progressive, number one. They are progressive in the sense that they touch on economic, legislative, as well as administrative benefits. This will be a plus on the UPND. The party committed itself to embark on constitutional reforms even before coming into office. And as part of our target area in the first term of Dr. Hichilema's administration, constitutional reforms is one of our key achievements that we will undertake. And the process started way back before the party even came into government. And there are certain issues that were raised then, which are even raised now in the same amendments which have been proposed. Now, the issue of delimitation through borders on our constitution, after every 10 years, the Electoral Commission of Zambia is mandated to redraw these constituency boundaries. Why are they mandated to do that? They take into account the growing population of these geographical areas, that over time, if you have maybe 5,000 people in this particular area, with population increase and other factors that may determine activity in those areas. So you find that when it comes to equitable and fair distribution of resources, it's not done fairly or equitably. So there is need to ensure that this exercise is conducted, and by law, this process is overdue. And that is why in 2019 or 2020, somewhere thereabout, we've seen communication that under the previous administration, the Electoral Commission of Zambia, as part of the electoral reforms, submitted a report to the former president, and part of that delimitation report recommended an increase, I think, of about 90 or 94 constituencies to the current 156 that we have. It was not acted upon, and so many other pieces of legislation were not acted upon. For instance, the access to information law, which was started by previous administration way back from the Chiluba time. They were campaigning that they will implement or they will enact the freedom of expression or access to information bill. It never happened. President Hichilema demonstrated by giving us this law, which is now in place, as a progression to these constitutional reforms. We have what we are looking at the moment. So anything that have reached its legal boundaries, institutions of governance, or these institutions mandated with electoral reforms, the ECZ, they have that duty, and in line with the roadmap, I think on 22nd April, they are expected to resubmit this report. Whether they will pick the same report or they will update it, that is what we will see when the report is given to the president or to the executive with regards to delimitation by law. And we cannot postpone this issue for any political reason or any rhetoric that people may wish to come up with or to set in the discussion. So there is an economic benefit that will align to this delimitation. What is the economic benefit? The economic benefit is increased CDF allocation. For instance, a constituency, if it's divided into 3, for instance, of the same geographical size, meaning it will have triple of the 36.1 million.
Okay.
It will be sitting around.
That's like, for example, Mr. Chileshe.
So what does that translate to?
Into 3.
For instance, if Lusaka Central is divided into 3, okay, you are talking about close to 100 million kwacha sitting in Lusaka Central.
Okay.
From the 36 million it used to receive. What does that translate to? There will be more projects that will be done within Lusaka Central constituency. There will be a lot of skills training. The number of youths that will access skills training in carpentry, bricklaying will increase. Even agriculture, we have our cooperatives, a college here in Baulen. There's training that is going on in agricultural courses under CDF. So if that school is enrolling, for instance, 500 students, we will now be talking about 1,000 of our youths being trained. And you can see the economic benefit that we are talking about resulting from this decision. So it's not just a constitutional thing. There are these economic benefits which will translate and will have an impact on the high cost of living that majority Zambians are going through. So we cannot rhetoric these progressive pieces of legislations that have an economic value when they're implemented because of the decentralization policy that the UPND has demonstrated physical decentralization by increased allocation to CDF, and it's been a game changer.
Okay. Mr. Chileshe, I know we are running out of time, but all in all, you are saying these proposed constitutional amendments have got economic, legislative, and administrative benefits, right?
I've cited the aspect of delimitation. I've outlined what economic benefit delimitation will achieve. It is overdue, and alongside other progressive amendments which have been proposed, we'll outline them, and we really need to give attention. And this message must be translated in all our local languages, so that people understand. It's a pity. I need to some people to help me learn the language, so that we can translate these in local language to our people, so that they understand.
Okay. Okay. Mr. Chileshe, I know due to time we can't go one by one.
But we started the program late. I thought we can accommodate
a
few others that... For instance, the 14 days to petition, the issue of MPs resigning from nomination.
That's number 2?
Yes. We can also look at what is being misinterpreted, that it will give excess powers to the president in terms of the nomination increase with regards. So those are some of the things that we need to clarify, but over and above, these proposed amendments have these economic benefits. The legislative benefits are enormous, and also administrative processes, so that we don't create vacuums in functioning during certain transition periods, especially after the election. But suffice to say that the New Dawn government, the New Dawn administration is totally changing the political landscape to align with the vision of it being a new dawn.
How, Mr. Chileshe? The Zambian people are interested. How?
For instance, you can see the political landscape as it will change after 2026 elections. We are going to have a youthful parliamentary representation. That is why the proposal to provide for a representation of the youths, the women, and the marginalized people. So that is totally a new landscape that we are going to see. And I think...
Why are you not doing this now, Mr. Chileshe?
We are doing it now because of the demands that we do so. Look at the last election. Our president was overwhelmingly supported by these young people. By statistics, they constitute over 60%. Yes, exactly. You are making reference to that. And these are commitments we are making so that we have an inclusive process that brings these young people on board. So that is one commitment. The women as well, so that we domesticate some of our international treaties.
But I'm not seeing it here, Mr. Chileshe.
The gender agenda now is what is being reflective in these proposed amendments. And the president has been saying on this public function that it's not that you not want, it's restricted. The number of 8 you are talking about is minimal. But so there has to be these provisions where certain quotas will definitely be reserved. They will not be at the mercy of the 5% ratio of the full composition of parliament. If it will be increased to 250, maybe the ratio will increase from 8 to 10 when you look at the 5% of the total number of the seats that overall will have. So that is a sort of a new generation under the new dawn that we are looking to, where young people will have a guaranteed number of seats in our legislative body. So these are progressive proposals, and away from politicizing. That is why communication units have come up with this communication strategy, so that we remove politics out of this progressive debate that we are supposed to have in the process of our consensus building. And the roadmap has been made clear. Other than being negative, why can't we take this window of opportunity? Let's take advantage to say, okay, this is the line that government wants to cure. For instance, the 14 days to petition. I was in the newsroom that time, and I covered these stories extensively of the 2016 election and with the petition. I saw right from there that the UPND said it, that they will revise this piece of legislation because their right to be heard was not granted. By the time they needed to present the evidence, they were told that time had elapsed. Now, this is not in the interest of the ruling party. It's also in the interest of the Uka, the Tonse people. When they lose, as they are destined to lose the coming elections, they would want to be given a fairer period in which their petition should be heard. So they should not act, because what they are doing now, they have found themselves on the other side of this sword, because it's a two-edged sword. You know, so they should be patriotic enough, if at all they are still patriotic. But as far as we are concerned, what is still the major opposition political party now, it does not exist. The PF is totally finished.
Okay. Mr. Chileshe, you've touched a number of articles. However, you have been a civil servant before. You have been in the civil service before, Mr. Chileshe. Let me bring you to number 11, Secretary to a Cabinet. Amend Article 176(3) to lower experience from 10 years to 5 years for eligibility. How do you look at this article?
It's been restrictive that you need to have 10 years of experience. Okay? Because when you are qualified and you have reasonable amount of civil service, and let me bring this to the fore. There were proposals that the president should appoint a cabinet from outside parliament. That you don't have to be a member of parliament for you to be appointed as a minister. Okay? In the same spirit, you find that for you to be a secretary to the cabinet, you must have been a permanent secretary for a certain period. But you see, you can still serve in that office, even if you have not had public service experience. You may have had international public service experience. So the criteria in terms of qualifying constitutional holder offices should not be so restrictive, because you may end up losing on the best candidate who's supposed to perform that office. Because you see, even at presidential level, okay, if you have a restrictive clause that you must have worked in government for you to stand for presidency, what about those who have never had the privilege to be in government? Does it mean they cannot provide service at that level?
Okay.
So these are some of the things that you cannot change overnight, because you'll be abrogating your own rules. So as part of the recruitment process, we need also to deal with some of these bottlenecks which border on administrative issue, so that we have the best candidate, other than having a criteria that is prohibitive in coming up with a credible candidate for that position. So the administrative benefits, amendment of that piece of legislation will bring in order to bring about efficiency in having the right caliber of people in that office. If you just restrict it to where it is now, we are not being progressive, because you see, everything rises and falls on leadership.
Okay. Okay. Let's go to another interesting article, Mr. Chileshe. This is article number number 8. MP term harmonization amend articles 81 and 266 to fix Parliament's term at 5 full years.
Yes, that also needs to be aligned. It's in the interest of members of Parliament. But let me touch the issue that deals with resignation.
Okay.
To avoid these costly by-elections.
Okay.
There's a saving of about 264 million, which has already been projected. As at now, you may wish to know that we've had about 6 by-elections. Out of those 6, Honorable Charles Milupi yesterday, as he appeared on Sunday interview, made reference that the UPND Alliance Partners has won 5.
Okay.
Quite costly, but that is the nature of democracy. But we can save these resources by purely amending this piece of legislation. So far, if 264 million has been spent, if this is amended, we would save that amount, because if you then provide a framework that even if you resign deliberately or by any means, or any other commitment that makes you difficult to, will not go through the by-election. So by-elections are costly. So there has to be a framework on the criteria on how that vacancy will be filled to avoid a by-election. Same goes with the aspect of nomination, where you have a constitution which is open-ended, that you don't need a political party to sponsor you to stand as a president. We are going to have a serious confusion in the event that 50 people shows up to say, we are going to stand, we have mobilized 100 from each province, and each one of them starts resigning or pulling out from having ECZ receive their nomination. What does the law provide? The law provides that ECZ should cancel that election. We are not going to go to another election where on the ballot paper you have a name of a person who has pulled out. Okay. The literacy levels in some of our villages, they will even be voting for a person who was pulled out but is appearing on the ballot paper. So to avoid that, what will ECZ do? They will have to reprint the ballot paper. Now, can you imagine the cost that goes with printing of ballot papers? Now you have 50 candidates. Every time 2 days you are to go to, they pull out. That is where the president was saying that you can have a prolonged stay. we may not have election for the next 2-3 years because of the porousness of the constitution, and we cannot change the constitution to just suit the selfish interest of politicians. The law must be applied. So we need to deal with these lacunas. We need to deal with these lacunas. It is the same opposition that will start blaming the president, okay, when he allows the law to take its full course. 2026 elections may not even come. And that is the truth. Going to eat under the current constitution. We need to change it. We are aware of the Mingalatos which are in politics.
Okay.
There are people that can sabotage the process to prove the point. So we have no time to start experimenting. The only way is to cure our constitution. And that is why we see these proposed amendments to be progressive, because of the physical discipline by law it seeks to instill through these savings, which that money will be channeled to social sectors of the economy. That is how we develop. We cannot develop. So the constitution also becomes a tool for development and not a political instrument, as people would like to politicize this matter. So let's remove politics out. The president means well, and the UPND remains committed to ensure that it delivers on its mandate to ensure that we have inclusive constitutional reforms. And that is one of the success story we are going to record as we go towards the elections. And we can only appeal to well-meaning parliamentarians from the PF itself and the independent MPs to rally behind to ensure that these progressive proposals, they go through, because ultimately it is working towards achieving a constitution that will stand the test of time.
Okay. Mr. Chileshe, I know there are 13 and we need to go, but summing them up, you have said they've got economic, legislative and administrative benefits. But as we go, your communication strategy, there have been some concerns, Mr. Chileshe, regarding your communication. But as we go, maybe you can...
Well, first of all, I would like to thank the leadership, that my Director General, Father Frank Walia, from the UPND Presidential Support System Media Unit, has demonstrated so far from the time of his appointment to where we are now. I wish also to take this opportunity to thank the leadership from my director at the main secretariat, Mr. Max Mue, following his appointment as a session in Livingstone, where we met with the founding leader for the UPND media team, Madam Ruth Dante, and Comrade Chelo Katambo, the Deputy Media Director. We really blended well to ensure that we come up with a robust communication strategy that will seek to segment this messaging so that we remove the politics out and create an agenda, a narrative that will reflect the good aspirations of the government. So we have a solid team under this leadership that I have outlined. So we are equal to the task and will ensure that we achieve on this mandate as communication units to ensure that we diffuse the propaganda coming from the opposition, which is not well intended. They are not truthful, because you can see how they lied even before government announcing these proposals. They were saying government wants to extend the presidential limit from 5 years to 7 years. We are opposing because government wants to remove the running mate clause. We are opposing because they want to remove the 50+1 threshold. Have you seen any of these things reflecting in the proposed amendments? It shows that they were lying. It was fear-mongering. It was the fear of the unknown.
Okay.
Now that an agenda has been set, so we want them to be patriotic enough to engage government by making submission under the guidelines of the proposed amendments, then you will have a meaningful opposition. That is an opposition that should offer checks and balances. Because what they are doing, in my view, it amounts to obstruction of justice. Because by law, ECZ is mandated to present this report. Okay? And they cannot diffuse this process. But we can only appeal for their support. While we appreciate that we are in a constitutional democracy, they have a right to say what they are saying, and it's part of a consensus building. And that is a process with which any debate of constitutional making, it must go through. But we are happy to state that from the time the Justice Minister made this announcement in Parliament, even parliamentary debate started. There were MPs that stood to debate and to welcome the proposed amendments. And this is the core I would like to see to well-meaning Patriotic Front MPs, not to shy away from the responsibility that the people have given them. Otherwise, we'll mark all those MPs that will stay away from this process, and we'll seriously campaign them that they don't retain those seats.
Okay. Mr. Chileshe, let me thank you most sincerely for coming through and for your patience and for being with us this morning. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. We seriously, honestly appreciate this partnership as part of our strategy. We urge the media to help us in implementing this communication strategy so that we look at these areas of the progressive amendments that have been proposed. And thank you so much to the management of Camnet TV. You've been doing a great job, and we wish you all the best and great success as you help us to disseminate this information to our masses so that we can have a constitution that will stand the test of time. And to our viewers, we appeal to you that appreciate the good intentions that government is doing. President Hakainde Hichilema means well for the betterment of Zambia and for the betterment of our country.
Thank you so much, Mr. Chileshe. And thank you, the viewers out there, for being patient and for joining us this particular morning. We do appreciate your association with Camnet TV's Rise and Thrive Breakfast Show, otherwise known as RT Breakfast Show. Thank you so much. Thank you to my director for the extra minutes. I've been your host, Tapelo. Joe Smata is my name. We'll see you when you see us. Good morning and God bless.
God bless.